Here in Germany, a suspect arrested for a mass data breach has confessed to the police. The 20-year-old male says that he committed the crime out of anger towards statements made by the politicians and public figures that he targeted. The personal information of 1,000 politicians was published on Twitter before Christmas. Private messages and photos were also made public. Authorities learned about the data theft late last week. Officials in the state of Hesse have just held a press conference. Let's listen in for a moment.
The suspect has confessed to the crimes he was suspected of and is assisting us in the investigation. Beyond his own crimes, he has given us further details that will assist the investigation. Because of these circumstances, there was no reason to keep him in custody, and the suspect was released last night. Investigators have seized computers and hard drives from his apartment.
Let's bring in our chief political editor, Michaela Kufner, who has been following all of these developments. And Michaela, if you could just begin by walking us through what is happening. Is it normal to release a suspect like this?
It is, because there are two reasons to keep somebody in custody. If there's a concern that this person will try and kind of blur the lines, destroy evidence, or whether that person might actually try and leave the country or at least go underground so authorities no longer have access to him. Well, the opposite seems to be the case here. This 20-year-old young man, he cooperated fully. Investigators say that he gave them information that goes beyond this case, even helped retrieve hardware that was already partially destroyed so they could regain access to certain data. So he went above and beyond to cooperate, and that might also increase his chances that he might be treated as what he appears to be, a 20-year-old kid who could be tried as a juvenile, which would mean a milder sentence. But we're only in the beginning here. There's still an investigation going on. But for now, we know who this hacker Orbit is, who released this information over the past couple of weeks.
And one of those key points in the investigation is really what his motive might have been. And just to remind our viewers, the right-wing AfD was the only party not affected. What do you think that tells us?
Well, this initially pointed towards the AfD. We didn't get any information on the political attitudes of this young man. Actually, his identity is being protected, and there are very few details given about his thinking. One of the few points that we learned, of course, is that he was frustrated also with statements of those individual politicians. So he didn't target any specific group, but it appears everybody except the far-right AfD party. We can read a lot into that, but investigators refuse to go into detail on what this young man actually said in more detail about his motivation, except that he was simply frustrated with those particular politicians.
Michaela Kufner with the latest on this story. Thank you.